This episode of Celtics Roundtable is powered by CLNS Radio. CLNS Radio, the leading online provider of audio-video coverage of the Boston Celtics. Welcome inside this particular podcast, everybody. This episode of Celtics Roundtable. I am Evan Valenti alongside Matthew and Jonathan Ignall, the Ignall brothers, coming to you this Tuesday morning, the eve of what will be probably the biggest game of the Celtics season and one of the biggest games, if not the biggest game they've had since the Big Three were there, as the Cavaliers coming to town on Wednesday take on the Celtics. So the day before that, we've got a couple of things to get to. Celtics preview of that game will come tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning, so you want to stay tuned for that. Some other topics that are on the table right now, though. Matthew, we'll start with you in this one. And it's not a shocker that the Celtics struggle offensively when Isaiah's not on the floor. It's becoming clearly a problem for Boston scoring out of anybody outside of Isaiah. I mean, Al Horford is a great piece. Sometimes he's very aggressive. Sometimes he's not. Avery Bradley, sometimes the shot's not falling, they struggle. And even if he's even in the lineup, if he's not there, they struggle. Offensively, this team is challenged. What is your response to finding some way, somehow, to get some offense on the floor when Isaiah is not there?
Well, for the Celtics, I mean, I think that they got to play some of their, best offensive players, sans Isaiah. They're not going to obviously score at the same rate that they do when Isaiah is on the floor. But in the playoffs, they're going to need to be productive in those minutes. Like, it's been no secret that the Celtics bench has not been as great as advertised this year, particularly on the offensive end. And Marcus Smart's kind of been up and down running the point guard without Isaiah. But they really have no one else to do it at this point. Really, Isaiah is their lone guy who can really get into the paint. But, I think there's got to be both Kelly Olynyk and Al Horford out there alongside Smart just to give him a little bit more spacing. And we're just, I guess, all going to be crossing our fingers that Marcus Smart breaks out of this cold slump because I think that's really the main reason why the bench has not performed as well over the last few weeks.
I like the idea of having Al Horford and Kelly Olynyk on the floor together because of what they can do in just pick and roll game. They can pick you apart, and at 7 feet tall, it's tough to defend that kind of stuff. I like that idea, and if you were to put, a lineup of like Marcus, Avery, Jay Crowder. I know this has a lot of starters in it, but that's not the point. But just a lineup without Isaiah on the floor consists of Marcus Smart, Avery Bradley, Jay Crowder, Kelly Olynyk, and Al Horford. Like, I don't think defensively it's too bad. I think they're fine. Offensively, obviously a lot of pick and roll heavy stuff with Marcus Smart, and a lot of teams are going to go under his stuff because they don't believe he can shoot. It's just going to be on Marcus Smart in that area to bury some shots. I mean, is that an idea for you, Matt?
Yeah, I guess I would lean towards that way. I mean, that means you can't play Isaiah quite as many minutes with the starters. So I guess there's a downside there.
You mentioned Marcus Smart at 18%. He went 1 for 5 last game, so trending up. I don't think
from
there is.
Right? We're talking 3.
From 3, yeah. I don't think there is an ideal non-IT lineup, but, I mean, yeah, you guys mentioned Kelly Olynyk. It just depends on which Kelly Olynyk we're going to get. Isaiah Thomas is going to have to go out at some point, and there's going to be a pinch, and we see the Celtics starters get big leads and blow them once Isaiah Thomas comes out of the game. And the other team goes on big runs, and the Celtics just don't have the firepower. Marcus Smart is missing shots. The ball kind of stops moving as well. So I think it really could be a problem.
It's one of the most inefficient ways to do this, but maybe this is the craziest way to do it, and maybe it might work because it's crazy. So if you had that lineup of Marcus, Avery, Jay, Kelly, and Al, or some permutation of that, right, just why don't you just let Marcus – I mean, it sounds crazy because it is, but – Marcus in the post has worked out really well, and doing actions on the opposite side of the floor while he's trying to post up and take a smaller guard and back him down. Maybe that's a way to get some open looks. I'm just trying to figure stuff out, and I'm trying to put my Brad Stevens cap on and think of a weird way that nobody else is thinking of to spark this offense because. After I can only watch Jonathan and you, and I'm one of the biggest Marcus Smart fans I think out there. It's hard to watch him shoot right now. It is.
Yeah, I mean, thank God he makes so many plays on defense.
Right.
You talk about wacky play ideas and stuff. Is there a chance Gerald Green could get thrown in?
I mean, he's gonna play. I think I'm with you on that, Jonathan. I think he is going to play in the playoffs because he's gonna be the last guy they bring off the bench and be like, all right, what you got, and see if you can get hot for a minute. I think that's as far as he'll go.
I agree, but the more I think about this right now, that this problem can't really be solved without that sort of a second guy who can be a primary initiator. Marcus Smart isn't really that. He's more of like a secondary sort of playmaker, a guy that you want out on the floor who can't really, make the main incision into a defense, but can poke a hole in it here or there, or make a smart pass. And if you put the starters out there with him, okay, well then you're hurting the starters getting into a rhythm. Like the Celtics need Jay Crowder and Avery Bradley to hit shots, and they're just going to have a tougher time doing it when Marcus Smart's running the point as opposed to Isaiah. So I'm thinking about it. The Celtics just might have to suck it up and hope that Marcus Smart returns to what he was playing like in January.
Fair point. I think there's a way, that's not going to solve the problem when Isaiah's off the floor, so to speak. But I think it's a way to maybe maximize certain things in terms of like offensive possessions for people. I had this idea earlier, on the weekend because after the Knicks game, I was watching Jaylen highlights and drooling like everybody else, and I was thinking, I was like, man, what this corner? He's automatic from corner three at this point, I think, and it's become such a good shot for him that I want to get him a lot of looks from those corners. Like, would it be a crazy idea to make Avery Bradley not a bench player because he's going to play in the fourth quarter when the game's on the line, but to make him that sixth guy off the bench, right? And let him take a lot of the scoring load when it comes time for, the second quarter when Isaiah's on the floor, a guy that can actually score the basketball.
I mean, he does kind of have that bench role though. Like he's always like the first, when Avery Bradley's playing, he's always like the first guard out, and then Brad Stevens will give him a lot of minutes with that bench.
Right. I'm just thinking doing it right from the jump though. Instead, I guess.
No, I get what you're saying, and Jaylen would definitely benefit from playing with Isaiah as much as possible. And Al, he does.
Yeah,
he's a better player.
It's good for Jaylen, but is it good for the team?
No, because Avery Bradley provides a lot of first quarter scoring. He's a really good first quarter shooter.
That's a great point.
And he's still, as Matt said, he's still kind of doing that backup role with the second unit. I don't think it's worth, Jaylen's upside for this playoff series or for the whole postseason isn't worth Avery's production at this point.
There's the downside of Jaylen, though, that sometimes when he comes off the bench and he's not playing with the best lineups, he doesn't have his best games. There was that minus 21 that he had in 13 minutes. That does sometimes happen with him. He plays much better with the starters.
Because he has a role. He understands. He has a very particular role. It expands when he comes off the bench because he has to somewhat play make, and he might not be totally ready for that kind of role right now. He's definitely a good spot-up shooter
with the starters, right? And that's probably where he's best at this point.
Yeah, if you
I'm
were
trying
to
to
start him,
maximize his time on the floor. That's really all I'm trying to do.
Yeah, if you were to start him, I think a tight leash approach would be the best. I mean, you saw in the Knicks game, I think Brad pulled him after 70 seconds or something like that, which was great, and then he came back in. So Jaylen, I don't see as a starter, but I mean, this could be a time for a big leap. I could see Jaylen making a leap in the postseason and becoming more reliable. And when Jaylen gets in trouble is when he starts forcing it. But when he plays within the system and really picks his spots, he's pretty good.
It's kind of weird that he's playing the two. Right? When I was watching him in college, when I was thinking about him in the draft and after, I was thinking this guy's got 3-4 potential. I didn't really see him as much of a 2, but he's clearly quick enough on his feet to handle it, and he's got the range to contest shots even if a guard goes by him or something like that. It's just very strange to me that I didn't even consider that he could play the 2, but it's worked out better than I expected.
Right, and I think when you're Jaylen Brown and you're on the floor with Jay Crowder, Amir Johnson, Al Horford, and Isaiah Thomas, whoever has you defensively is most likely than not going to probably be the worst defensive player on the squad. So he can kind of go one-on-one a little bit more often and have more success with it if he's going to have the worst guy on the floor defending him. But he oozes all the potential he uses is as you've seen him put them together, we're kind of, I think, are we all collectively waiting for the next big Jaylen jump? It's been a while.
I am so incredibly patient with him. I feel like he's so raw. I I think that it's going to be like a slow sort of build for him rather than like these giant leaps. His on-off numbers are pretty poor at this point. Doesn't really match the eye test so much what we're seeing. So who knows if that's noise or not, but he's going to keep putting pieces together for a while.
Today's roundtable is being brought to you by the SeatGeek ticketing app. As the Celtics playoff push heats up, SeatGeek is the smartest and easiest way to get tickets to every game. With SeatGeek's seamless mobile experience, you can buy and sell tickets in just 2 taps. And it just doesn't end with Celtics or any other NBA game. SeatGeek also has plenty of concert tickets, comedy tickets, and theater tickets available too, and it's all fully guaranteed. There is a huge, absolutely massive game. Maybe you've heard about this game coming up on Wednesday at the TD Garden. This guy named LeBron James is coming to town, and the number one overall seed in the Eastern Conference may or may not be on the line in this game. And let's say you may or may not want to go to this game. Well, you should use the SeatGeek ticketing app to buy your tickets, because listeners to CLNS Radio can support this production. You get a $20 rebate off their first SeatGeek purchase. And here's how you do it. Download the free SeatGeek app. Go to the Settings tab and click Add a Promo Code. And enter the promo code CELTSNEWS, all one word, and SeatGeek will send you $20 after you've made your first ticket purchase. Download the free SeatGeek app today and enter the promo code CELTSNEWS.
Can we talk about Kevin Pelton and Chad Ford's top 10 rookies? I think that came out a couple days ago.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so not only did neither have Jaylen Brown in their top 5, but they had him as the third highest ceiling rookie on the Boston Celtics. They actually had Yabusele and Ante Zizic ahead of him.
Leonard and Gomez, are you fucking kidding me?
Right, and Scal too. Yeah.
I don't know how much attention. I don't know Chad Ford. Like he sometimes says things that like make me like scratching my head. Oh, he was talking about Jonathan Isaac, and Chad Ford said something like his like D is like bad or something like that, or he can't defend.
What?
And I was like, that's his strength. How do you not know this? He's a lottery pick.
He's 7 feet tall. His ceiling is Chris Bosh. Like, just look at him.
Interesting comp.
Look at him. Watch. I went back and looked at this. Chris Bosh.
That's pretty good, Evan. I've never heard that.
I think Leonard Hamilton sucks. Okay.
It's like it's more like late periods, like Miami Bosh almost.
Right. Stretch Bosh.
Not like Bosh shooting threes.
Post Bosh was incredible.
Yeah, and protecting the rim.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to fill out. That's like my biggest concern. Like, I don't see him being a 1, 2, or 3 option. I just want him to be able to play
right
at that power forward or center spot. Like
Juan Hernan-Gomez. It's Scalaby Sierra. Are you kidding me? And that'll do it for us here on CLNS Roundtable. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to today's program. We'll be back, of course, Wednesday morning. Preview Cleveland Cavaliers, Boston Celtics at the TD Garden Wednesday night. We'll preview that game for you Wednesday morning. For Jonathan Ignall, for Matthew Ignall, for myself, this is it for this episode of CLNS Roundtable, powered by CLNS Radio and by SeatGeek. Today's roundtable is being brought to you by the SeatGeek ticketing app. As the Celtics playoff push heats up, SeatGeek is the smartest and easiest way to get tickets to every game. With SeatGeek's seamless mobile experience, you can buy and sell tickets in just 2 taps. And it just doesn't end with Celtics or any other NBA game. SeatGeek also has plenty of concert tickets, comedy tickets, and theater tickets available too, and it's all fully guaranteed. There is a huge, absolutely massive game. Maybe you've heard about this game coming up on Wednesday at the TD Garden. This guy named LeBron James is coming to town, and the number one overall seed in the Eastern Conference may or may not be on the line in this game. And let's say you may or may not want to go to this game. Well, you should use the SeatGeek ticketing app to buy your tickets, because listeners to CLNS Radio can support this production. You get a $20 rebate off their first SeatGeek purchase. And here's how you do it. Download the free SeatGeek app. Go to the Settings tab and click Add a Promo Code. And enter the promo code CELTSNEWS, all one word, and SeatGeek will send you $20 after you've made your first ticket purchase. Download the free SeatGeek app today and enter the promo code CELTSNEWS